there's a plan of activity, because you're not just going to Netherlands for 3 weeks and then it's all expense paid trip and you're just going to, you think you're going there to go and flex. No, you're coming back to your country. It's not a jackpot scheme. So I don't want to start with the cliche. Hi, my name is Tilokwe Fadare and welcome to my YouTube channel, because I know that's the cliche. But I've not actually sat and actually thought of how exactly I want to do like my intro. So I think for now you have to manage. Hi, my name is Tilokwe Fadare and welcome to my YouTube channel. Okay, so if you're actually watching this video, is either you love me, thank you very much, I love you too, or you are very interested in this particular topic I want to talk about. And I think it's very important because a lot of persons have been coming to meet me to explain to them how exactly I was able to do this. So a little backstory: in December 2022, I was given a scholarship by the Netherlands government to study digital media creation for 3 weeks in Radio Netherlands Training Center. So a lot of persons, after I posted about it on my socials, a lot of persons reached out to me in the DMs, even in the posts. They were lamenting as to how they didn't get the scholarship and what I did basically to get the scholarship. And it just made sense that, oh, okay, you know what, let me have a conversation about this. And interestingly, during the week, the RNTC also released or made an announcement that they want to start another application for a scholarship program for anyone who wants to, apply into this particular program. So again, some of these conversations came up, or questions asking me, okay, what should I do with this? How should I fill my form? What should I write? And all of this good stuff. So I just said, you know what, let me just have a conversation that I'll just send the link straight to you for you to watch it directly on my channel. So yeah, welcome again. And let me just jump right into it. Yeah. So I got to know about this particular program through a colleague of mine in my current organization. I looked through the program and I saw that there's something called digital media creation. Backstory: I've fallen in love with mobile journalism. I've done a lot of trainings on mobile journalism with over 100 journalists in Nigeria and members of a civil society organization, and basically teaching them how to leverage digital tools to enhance their productivity in their newsrooms. And this basically just helped my whole process and made me want to learn more through the course that I want to be learning at RNTC, that's the Radio Netherlands Training Center. So it's important for you to know that the whole program, the application for the whole program, or the whole program till you get your final yes, is like about 4 stages or more. But the primary stages are the first and the second stages for you to know. The first stage, you apply, and I'll just break everything down for you to understand. So there are 2 categories of scholarship. There's the OKP and there is the MENA. The OKP is the Orange Knowledge course, and then I don't know the full meaning of the MENA because that was OKP is what I applied for. So the first stage, they basically just require a bit of information from you, like your normal contact details, your CV, and then a motivation letter. So now in this particular introductory application, it's important that this is more like they want to know, are you deserving to move to the second stage of the application? We want to see if, based on your track record, what you've done, is it enough for us to send you the link to apply for the second stage. So there are processes basically involved in this. So of course, I don't think I need to tell you how to prep your CV. You need to do that. Go on YouTube and Google and then prep your CV for this purpose. And also your contact details as well is very personal to you. But interestingly, your motivation letter, I feel, based on what I did, I feel like what they are looking out for is your track record, your antecedents, what you have done. So depending on the course that you are going to be picking, you need to tailor make it to how you want your motivation letter to be. But before I go into that, let me just do a quick rundown as to the courses available. So they have the media campaigns for social change and advocacy. So one course I also wanted to do, I might consider later. So it's all about developing campaigns that inspire social change and amplify advocacy efforts. I feel like if you're into the CSO and NGO space, this is one course that you should be looking out for. Then there's the digital media creation, which is what I'm going for in February 25. It's on developing engaging multimedia content for broadcast and web. This is primarily what I do in my current organization. I create multimedia content, so I wanted to learn more. Aside the fact that I also want to conduct more trainings and do refresher courses based on what I've taught my previous participants. Also, there's digital media to counter disinformation and hate speech, and it helps. This particular course provides practical tools to create alternative narratives and combat disinformation and hate speech in the media space. We know how it's been very damaging. Fake news has been damaging to our ecosystem. And lastly, we have data and investigative journalism, delivering powerful stories that have an impact on society with the sole objective of exposing the truth. So some people just feel like these particular courses are strictly for journalists, but no, if you're a media practitioner, if you're a content creator, if you're a blogger, you can also actually apply for this course. So now let me jump back to the motivation. So what I did is that I feel in my head, I don't know why they picked me, but this is what I did, and I feel like it can be beneficial to you. So what I did was that my antecedents, I picked digital media content creation, and I've done a lot of work on it in the sense that I initially started with a program with organized by Facebook and ICFJ and hashtag our stories. They taught like 10,000 African journalists on video storytelling. From that particular course on Facebook just inspired my world into multimedia journalism. And then aside that, I'd conduct several trainings for journalists. So I indicated all this, that this is my track record. These are the impact basically. So for instance, for me, I had a student who started his own media outfits based on the training that I facilitated. And also there are some newsrooms that incorporated including multimedia content, making it mandatory for their reporters to include multimedia content whenever they are on the field. So this is sort of an impact. There's a track record I've facilitated. I have spoken at several events on mobile journalism, on digital content creation, but I want to learn more. I want to do more. Then also aside that, which is like in the second application, there's also something on your country's focus, but I will go into it later. So I was able to tell them that I've done this so far, and this is what I want to learn. I want to learn more. Because aside just learning, you're supposed to come back and train and impart knowledge on people. So I want to do a refresher course basically. So this was like my motivation letter. So I think them seeing that, oh, this person has not been idle, this person has actually put in the work, then let us, this is like enough enticement, or this is really attractive for us to invite her for the next stage. So after I put that through, a few days later I got a mail for the second phase, which is the Norfolk Delta application stage, where this is where the real work is, because I really had sleepless nights for this. For the second stage, this is where you are required to submit your passport details. So your passport must still be very valid even 3 months after your the day of when you're supposed to be receiving your lectures at the center. So it has to be, you need to go and get, like, if you have not done your passport, you need to go and get it updated immediately. And also you need to have like an employer statement. You need to have, depending on your country, you need to have a government statement as well. And yeah, that's basically it. But now the bulk of the work actually is on your employer statements, because they will tell your employer to write out certain things that you will do upon return into the country. And I would advise actually that you sit down and write this, and then eventually show your employer that, okay, this is what I am proposing that I want to do. I want you to look through it, because I don't think your employer will have the time, whoever you're using in your company will have the time to actually go through that very rigorous process. Do you get? So nobody will have such time. So I think you should actually sit down and think for yourself, what exactly do I want to do? And then write on behalf of your employer, and then show your employer this is what you want to do. You can now rub minds through it and then eventually submit. Then also you have a government statement. Also, depending on your country, there should be like a government statement. For Nigeria, there's really no need for a government statement, but there is something called an area of focus for each country. For instance, in Nigeria, there were certain thematic areas that that RNTC rather is looking to focus on, and it varies from country to country. During my own cohort, the focus were security and rule of law, human rights and good governance, sexual and reproductive health rights, which is what I wrote on, what health, water management, economic development, agro-food and horticulture, renewable energy, creative industries. So you have to pick one. So based on your application, for instance, my digital media content creation, I have to also relate it to one thematic focus based on my country, which is sexual and reproductive health, right? The good side of it for me is that I have covered a lot of gender stories, I've covered a lot of sexual and reproductive health rights stories. So I have to marry these two information that I've had, or background that I've had, and put it together and make sense basically of it. So I also want to walk you through how I was able to apply some of the things that I included in my employer statement that could be of help to you. Before I go into the employer statement, I also want you to pay attention to the details, the information that they indicate while you are filling your form. For instance, in your employer statement, they will say, oh, remove the logo of the Norfolk logo and include your organization's logo there. Pay attention to every specific detail. So things like that can make them disqualify you, because you're not paying attention to every little detail. So now into the employer statement. They are now asking my employer to talk about the candidate they are nominating for the scholarship, which is moi. So they're asking about, so what is this person's doing in your organization? Now, this relevance of the study program. So under this place, the employer is supposed to talk about how relevant this particular program is going to be for the candidate. So in my own case, this is what I wrote. Titi Lokwe Fadare's role in the multimedia department, because I am in the multimedia department of my organization, requires her to constantly develop her skills to adapt to the growing multimedia demands of the organization. And we just recently had like an inbuilt studio. So I indicated that, alongside my employer, indicated that we just had this studio, and it's amazing, beautiful studio, which I'm currently in, and we need her to be able to learn how to make use of certain equipment that we already purchased. So which is also in relation to the digital media creation that I chose already. And I equally want her to learn how to build a vibrant community on our podcast channel. The use of podcasts is relatively fresh for newsrooms in Nigeria. This is relevant for this person you're nominating. How is it going to be relevant for the organization itself? So anything that can basically score points for you as an individual, please put it. So I put Titi Lokwe is the only female content producer in our multimedia department. Through self-taught approaches, she has produced several creative content for our digital platform and has taught some staff and journalists in other newsrooms on mobile journalism with focus on gender reporting. You know what I did there? I married digital media creation and gender reporting, which is the sexual and reproductive health rights issues. You're getting now, right? Okay, so in addition to her core responsibility of producing multimedia content for the organization, she's passionate about resolving gender challenges in the country and has produced several articles on gender-based violence, female genital mutilation. My employer wrote a bit more about how this particular thematic focus is relevant in Nigeria, and why getting this knowledge for her will be very paramount for our organization. Now, there's a plan of activity, because you're not just going to Netherlands for 3 weeks. and then it's all expense pay trip, and you're just going to, you think you're going there to go and flex. No, you're coming back to your country. It's not a jackpot scheme. You're coming back to your country to impart knowledge. That's one thing people should know. So they want to see, what are you coming back to do? You cannot just gamble on your words and say, oh, anything. You have to think deeply as to what exactly you're coming back to do in Nigeria for them to actually consider you eligible to be part of this particular program. So now the plan of activities is divided into, they make it really detailed so that they will do specifically what you're coming to do. So you have objective, activity, and the period. So they're making it smart for you. Smart in the sense that it is specific, it's measurable, it is achievable, and it is, I think time bound, I guess. I think so, yeah. So you make it like, I'm not sure, please check. But there's the T there. So you have to be specific, go really narrow as to what you're coming back to do. So I want to tell you what I did. So the first thing I said I was going to do is to train staff of my organization on digital content creation, which is basically what I'm going to learn there. So in my activity, organize an online training for editors, reporters, and interns of my organization, and I gave a particular date. For the next one, I said I'm going to train staff of 3 CSOs focused on sexual and reproductive health rights, on digital content creation, and how to amplify their advocacy, their activism, and their social mobilization. So now guess what I did? So remember I said that there's a government focus, and the government focus is supposed to pick one and marry it into the course you are going to be doing over there. And the second application, I sent it, and I was told that I scaled through the second phase, which is the Norfolk Delta phase, and now they would send, the third phase is sending my application to Netherlands embassy, so that there is like a reading committee that will go through my application basically, and in some cases they would call my employer to, if they go through the employer statement and they find out that there are some things that they cannot really understand, they will call your employer. So you need to sit on your employer's neck, just in case that they reach out to your employer. The employer should be able to like tell them that, okay, this is what you are doing and all of that stuff, and then finally they would now call you. So there are like 3 cohorts every year: February, May, and August. So it's a recurring thing. So if you don't get for this particular one, you can always apply for it over and again. I understand that some persons have been registering over and again for this particular program, but this is basically what I did, and I feel like it will be very impactful for you. This was the first time I just saw a colleague sent it to me and I applied, and this was just at the top of my head, and I feel like you are not out of place to actually, get what you want. So I want you not to be deterred. I think with this particular video, it should properly guide you as to what exactly you should do. But if you still seek more, if you still have more questions, my DM is open, and you can also drop your questions in the comment section, and I'll be willing and always ready to speak on it. So again, this is not limited to anybody, and of course I'll be bringing in more videos because I'll be traveling on February 25. So I'll be doing like snippets of some things I've learned. I think I'll be doing it daily, depending on how the program is, how free I am with the program. Although it's quite a flexible program, which is just for 3 weeks. But I'll try as much as possible to be detailing how the progress is while I'm there. So you can also have a feel of the environment, the culture, and basically the learning process as well. So yeah, keep it locked. I can't promise that I'm going to be here next week, but whenever you see me, just know that I'm coming to dish out really good content for you. And yeah, bye. Sexist norms, sexist.